He was the object of Sally Field's greatest loathing. The entertainment industry was already a part of Sally Margaret Field's upbringing when she was born on November 6, 1946, in Pasadena, California. Margaret Field was her actress mother and Jock Mahoney her famous stuntman's stepfather. These early connections in Hollywood helped introduce Sally to the entertainment industry when she was quite young. It was not an easy road for her to travel. The difficulties of adjusting to a blended family dynamic and her own personal emotional troubles defined her formative years. She frequently painted herself as an introverted, uncertain young woman. However, a charismatic and talented individual hid behind that shy demeanor. The opportunity that would begin Sally's career came after she graduated from Birmingham High School in Venice. It was a big break on television. She shot to fame in 1965 after starring in the comedy series Jig, which followed the adventures of a free-spirited adolescent surfer. The show only ran for one season, but Sally's charisma and timing for humor won over viewers in an instant. Sister Bertrell, a cheery nun with the ability to fly, was another iconic character she played 2 years later in 1967-1970 on The Flying Nun. Despite the show's success, Field subsequently acknowledged that playing the role of the innocent, cheerful girl had shackled her. She secretly wanted to be free and show the world that she was an actor with depth and complexity of expression. A watershed moment in her life was that desire. Desperate to find a new identity, Sally enrolled in acting classes with the renowned Lee Strasberg at Strasberg's workshop. After undergoing this transformation, she felt prepared to take on the difficult, meaningful roles that would shape her career. She went from being a beloved TV sweetie to a genuine artist. In 1976, Sally Field's perseverance was rewarded with an outstanding performance in the television film Sybil. Her portrayal of a young woman with dissociative identity disorder called for an extremely nuanced and expressive performance. The impact of Field's portrayal was revolutionary. She reached a turning point in her career when her performance garnered her an Emmy Award, which critics lauded for its intensity and realism. Hollywood finally started to take Sally Field seriously as an actor, rather than just another bubbly TV sitcom star. After her breakthrough in Sybil, she was able to land the challenging parts she had always wanted, allowing her to showcase her acting chops. The zenith of that period came in 1979 when Field acted in the stirring film Norma Ray, which chronicles the journey of a textile worker from the South who becomes a union leader. Audiences and critics alike were moved by her portrayal of authenticity, bravery, and conviction. She won Best Actress at the Oscars for her performance. Oscar history will always remember her heartfelt victory speech, in which she proclaimed, "You like me? You really like me?" It was a moment that captured her immense gratitude and the recognition she had been seeking. As the 1980s progressed, Sally Field showcased her flexibility by starring in a wide variety of roles. She had on-screen chemistry and a real-life romance with Burt Reynolds, whom she co-starred in Smokey and the Bandit 1977 and The End as 1978. Although they broke up, their relationship was a watershed moment in her life and career, and it was one of the most talked about couples of the time. Field is widely recognized as one of Hollywood's most esteemed and legendary actors, thanks to her roles in Places in the Heart 1984, which garnered her a second Academy Award for Best Actress in 1989 in Steel Magnolias. She was strong while still being vulnerable in all of her roles, beautifully depicting strong ladies who battled, loved, and persevered. Sally Field demonstrated, decade after decade, that her acting prowess was permanent. Its enduring quality was undeniable. In Forrest Gump 1994, Sally Field rewrote Hollywood history by playing the part of Tom Hanks's wise and loving mother. Later in life, she made a triumphant comeback to television, where her portrayal of a modern family's strong yet caring grandmother in ER and Brothers and Sisters garnered critical praise. Her performance in Brothers and Sisters was recognized with another Emmy, solidifying her position as a top talent in television. Field took on jobs that challenged her boundaries well into her 70s. Her performances in Steven Spielberg's Lincoln 2012 as Mary Todd Lincoln and Broadway's The Glass Menageries as the titular character garnered her multiple Oscar nominations. She used her fame to speak up for causes outside acting, including LGBTQ equality, mental health awareness, and the rights of women. Field gave her fans an intimate glimpse into her life in 2018 with her biography, in which she spoke frankly about her low self-esteem, personal victories, and grief. Readers were moved by the book's depiction of the power that lay beneath her fragility. They loved her honesty and determination. Her private life has been just as full of twists and turns as her professional one. Feud wed Stephen Craig for the first time in 1968, when she was shifting from the comedic stardom of Gig and The Flying Nun to a more serious career. Their romance developed when she was going through a time of tremendous personal and professional upheaval, as she sought to make a name for herself in the acting world. They had two boys, Titter Craig, born 1969, and Ely Craig, born 1972, even though they split up in 1973 and got a divorce in 1975, neither of whom could resist launching lucrative careers in the film industry. After breaking into the industry, Peter went on to write critically acclaimed novels and screenplays for blockbuster movies including Top Gun Maverick 2022 and The Town 2000. In 2010, Eli's dark comedy Tucker and Dale vs. Evil brought him fame, and he went on to achieve success in both acting and directing. Feud has frequently expressed her pride in her sons and the close relationship they have. She found solace in parenting, which helped her weather the storms of her long career in the ever-shifting Hollywood industry. Following the dissolution of her marriage to Stephen Craig, Sally Field had a highly publicized romance with Hollywood legend Burt Reynolds. The media and public were captivated by their relationship, which started in 1976 and continued until 1980. Their first on-screen encounter was in the 1977 action comedy Smokey and the Bandit, which went on to become a smash blockbuster at the box office and cement their status as one of the most beloved couples of the 70s. They collaborated on 3 additional projects because of their obvious connection: Hooper 1970s in Alert and Smokey and the Bandit 2 1980. Their intricate and passionate love existed off-screen, though. Later in life, Field spoke of Reynolds as someone she loved very much, but whose issues with vulnerability and control caused friction in their relationship. Their partnership was formally ended in 1980, but they had an on and off relationship for a few more years before finally breaking up in 1982. Both looked back on their time together with fondness and unresolved feelings in their older years. Field was infamously referred to as the love of my life in Reynolds' 2015 memoir. According to Field's 2018 memoir In Pieces, their relationship was complicated and challenging emotionally. Alan Graham, a film producer, was the love of Sally Field's life in 1984. With 2 Oscars under her belt for Norma Rae in 1979 and Places in the Heart in 1984, she had already established herself as one of Hollywood's most revered actors. New happiness and purpose entered her life in 1987 with the birth of her 3rd son, Sam, who she had with Griman. Sam, who is now a writer and campaigner, and Field's close, supportive family are topics of Field's frequent glowing praise. Field described the delicate balancing act between her job and parenting as extremely rewarding and very challenging, despite the fact that her career was extremely demanding. Her marriage to Grinman, however, ended in divorce, as do many Hollywood relationships. Their 10 years of marriage ended in a divorce in 1994. Countless anecdotes about life on Hollywood sets have surfaced throughout the years. War stories involving egos and creative energy. The alleged tension between Sally Field and Tommy Lee Jones, whose on-screen chemistry would go on to generate a great deal of buzz, is among the most infamous. Working together on Back Roads 1981 was infamously tumultuous, despite the fact that both Sally Field and Tommy Lee Jones are esteemed Oscar-winning performers known for their tremendous talent and professionalism. Field, who is notoriously forthright when talking about her time in Hollywood, did not bash Jones for what she really thought of him. "I've dealt with challenging men in the past," she remarked. However, Tommy was totally different. Dealing with him was an absolute nightmare. Compared to anyone else I've ever collaborated with, I despised him the most. Her sincere and worn-out statements conveyed the profound anguish and mental toll that the ordeal had taken on her. Each actor was at a turning point in their careers when filming began. With her critically praised turns in Smokey and the Bandit 1977 and Norma Rae's 1979, Sally Field had previously demonstrated her dramatic prowess. There was real conflict behind the scenes, but their on-screen relationship was real and convincing. Thanks to Tommy Lee Jones's passionate, gritty performances and unwavering commitment to his art. Many of the emotionally heated scenes between them didn't even need acting, as Field would later confess. Truly, they were. According to her, every glance and communication between us carried weight. I was not feigning anger against him. Yeah, I was. They were at odds with one another because they had different ways to solving problems. Collaboration, openness, and emotion characterized Field. It is well known that Jones was a gloomy, meticulous, and uncaring individual. Feud needed respect and sensitivity, and his domineering approach was at odds with that. He may come out as arrogant, she went on to say. Even though I had won an Oscar before, he still treated me like a complete idiot. I found it offensive. Actors' obvious hatred and lengthy periods of stillness contributed to an emotionally taxing and stressful environment, according to crew members who recalled the experience afterwards. Despite their animosity, their on-screen chemistry was electrifying. The honesty and authenticity of their performances were lauded by critics. Feud did not realize it at the time, but she subsequently confessed that she poured her real frustrations into the play. Every bit of my resentment and animosity toward Tommy served to enhance my performance. It had a strangely cathartic effect. But after filming wrapped, she spoke herself clearly. Never again would she collaborate with him. I couldn't bear to be in his presence, she said frankly. When asked about Feud's remarks, Tommy Lee Jones remained silent. But his quiet spoke it all. The infamously cynical Tommy Lee Jones dismissed claims of a feud as baseless rumor mill. However, sources close to the situation said that his impulsive nature frequently caused friction with his co-stars, particularly those with strong personalities like Sally Field, who would not be swayed. Sally gave it her all, according to one Backroads crew member. Their relationship deteriorated further because she refused to give in. Observing the collision of two storms was akin to that. Looking back on it now, Feud could help but laugh and feel a twinge of annoyance. She conceded that, while she acknowledged his acting prowess, it was no guarantee that she would warm to him. Not me. Actually, I despised him. Fans loved her candor because she was honest and didn't try to hide the truth about Hollywood. No matter how professional the relationship, she reminded her audience that not all working relationships are pleasant. Most people think that after filming a scene, actors become friends. That isn't always accurate, she remarked. You have to learn to persevere. Decades after the fact, Backroads is still only a little part of the otherwise stellar careers of both actors. Will be remembered more for the dramatic chemistry between the actors than the story itself. They both proceeded to accomplish remarkable feats. In 1984, Feud collaborated with Steel Magnolia on 1989, and in 1993, Jones collaborated with The Fugitive. That in 2007, they released No Country for Old Men. A strong illustration of how creative genius and intense inner turmoil can coexist is their partnership. Sally Field's sentiments for Tommy Lee Jones remained unchanged throughout their relationship. Sharp, honest, and profoundly felt, her statements are perhaps one of the most shocking admissions of animosity between co-stars in Hollywood. He could have some impressive skills, she said in her final assessment. However, brilliance does not justify brutality. I'd prefer to collaborate with someone else. Sally Field was a lady who left an indelible mark on the world by speaking her views fearlessly and with conviction. And that unaided, genuine statement does her justice.